What are we doing tonight? It is date night, steak night, baby. Come on. Mikey has been asking about the grill. He's been asking how can we get the grill going. I want to learn about the grill, so we're gonna do that tonight. First things first, what we always do is we go over the ingredients. Let's start out here. The star of the show, we got 2 USDA choice ribeyes, boneless. Shout out to Publix every year. Easter and Christmas, they put standing rib roast on sale for $6.99 a pound. Yes, you heard that right. $6.99 a pound. That's $10 off a pound. That's insane. So what does Torque Dad do? I do the smart thing because I'm Torque Dad. So I go to the butcher and I say, just give me the whole rack. And I got a special episode brewing that I will show you what I did with that whole rack. That's coming sometime early 2024. You'll see that whole episode. It's gonna be mind-blowing. In this case, I sliced about 1.25 inches. This one's a little skinnier than this one. You do not need to take this out of the fridge and get it to room temperature. A lot of people say that that's mandatory for steak. It's not. What we did do is put them on a wire rack and we heavily salted both sides. And when I say heavily, I say heavily. Don't hold back. It's a big, thick chunk of meat. It will take it. It won't be salty. It'll just be Flavor City. Then what we're gonna do, just do a little fresh ground pepper on both sides. Flip that over. You can kind of see how the salt has sweated out some of the moisture on the surface of that meat. That's gonna be wonderful when that hits the grill. We're gonna do some Brussels sprouts for a veggie. What's that, Mike? That's cauliflower. Cauliflower's gross. No, it's not. We're gonna do a mashed cauliflower tonight that's gonna blow your mind as a replacement for mashed potato. Don't hate me. Don't hate me. When you try it, you'll love it. Gorgonzola, we're gonna have a little cream sauce at the end. Of course, we got our minced garlic. That'll come in. A little bacon, of course. Some fresh rosemary and utensils. Very easy tonight. This is actually a pretty quick recipe. You don't need to spend hours and hours on this. This is fairly fast. We're going to be done in about 45 minutes. Good knife, tongs, and anytime, ladies and gentlemen, you have spent money on a good cut of beef, please, 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 please have one of these. All right, this is the grill. We got it going. We got it started. What we're gonna do is we're gonna set 2 burners up on direct heat, and I'm gonna leave the 3rd off. And I'll show you why in a few minutes while we're doing that. If you have 2 burners, leave one on and leave one off. If you have 4 burners, Michael.
3 on, 1 off.
There you go. Leave one off. Now, I have this little piece of equipment here, which is just a metal box that I put some wood chips in. Gives you a little bit of flavor. This is a gas grill. Now all you haters out there talking about why isn't he using charcoal and why isn't he using the green egg and blah, 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 blah. Those are all great things. However, Mama's coming home and Mama's hungry. She's great, and you'll meet Miss Amber sometime soon. Shout out to Miss Amber.
Shout out, Miss Amber.
Shout out, thank you. Okay, so we don't have time for green egg. We don't have time for smoker. We don't have time for all that nonsense. We got to get this meal done 30, 45 minutes tops. Gas grill all day long. Put that little box in there, give you a little bit of extra flavor, a little bit of extra smoke. All right? We've got the steaks out here. We're going to let this get warmed up. We'll be back in a second. Okay, we've been down this road before. Michael, right? Bacon and scissors. It's not weird. All right, so we're just going to fry this bacon, a little medium heat. This is just going to set the base layer for our Brussels sprouts. Now, I like the bigger Brussels when you can find them, but you know, you get what you get at the grocery store. But regardless of how big they are, we're just going to chop these in half. And that will give us a nice little surface to brown for our roasted Brussels. We're going to put a little bit of oil on a pan. Nothing fancy. We got our cauliflower. Let's wash that boy. Give him a nice bath. Now you can also do this recipe, same thing, with frozen cauliflower. If you're in a rush, you don't feel like breaking down a cauliflower, fresh cauliflower, you can get the frozen pack and it will do the same thing. And I'll show you why here in a second. It really doesn't matter, because all we're going to try to do here is we're just going to brown the outside. And we're just going to break this guy down into quarters, florets, whatever you want to call them. There we go. Nothing fancy. Now I know, this is the normal thing. But for this recipe, we want to do a bulb. And I'll show you what we're going to do with that. Cut the top off. I'm going to put that boy right there. And look at that. Even going to put a little oil on top of it. Boom. Salt and pepper. Let's go out to the grill. So we've got direct heat and we've got indirect heat. Direct heat side is over here. Indirect heat side is over here. That is the whole premise behind reverse sear. What are we going to do with these steaks? Is we are going to cook them to an internal temperature of 120 degrees. That's step one. Step two, we're going to take them off and we're going to let them rest, and then we're going to sear them. Hence the name reverse sear. Reverse sear is for lovers. The steaks do not go on direct heat right now. Go on indirect heat, and they're going to soak up some of this wonderful smoky flavor. And then we got the cauliflower over here, and we'll let the garlic do its thing. Let's go back inside. A lot of back and forth with the grill. This bacon is done. Get that loveliness out. Now we've got a pan full of oil. We don't need that much oil. So we're going to drain most of it. We're going to leave about a tablespoon in there. Okay? Throw the Brussels in there. We're going to let them start to brown. Then we are going to put the oven on 400 degrees. Beginning, just kind of get the bottoms browned. If you want to be really anal, you can get all these guys facing down at the beginning. Then that gives everybody a nice even sear, and it's beautiful. It really does work out great. It's just a little more work for what we are going to do tonight. So we're just going to just brown these on medium heat. Salt and pepper. Maillard reaction on the cauliflower. Then our steaks. These are going to take a little while. And we can speed it up a little bit. We could put it on this top rack if we want. I don't know. We're just going to we're going to let them get up to temperature the old-fashioned way. Let's talk about the searing process, because we're going to get there and it's going to happen real fast. So I want to give you the rundown of what's going to happen. Like I said, we're going to get those steaks up to an internal temperature of 120. We're going to pull them off. We're going to get this guy raging hot, as hot as it'll go, okay? Now you could actually just put that on the grill. You could do it inside on the stove. It's just going to create a lot of smoke, so I like to do it out here. Then we're going to put the steaks on there. No fat, no extra oil or anything like that. The steaks will sear. We're going to add a little butter, some rosemary, just to baste the tops. But really what we're trying to do is get those bottoms on a flat surface, really hot surface, which will give that nice crust that we're looking for at the end. All right, these are looking really, really good. You can overcook the Brussels. You can undercook the Brussels. This process is maybe 3 or 4 minutes. Oven is 10 to 15 minutes. You have to kind of play it by ear. But you'll know they get nice and brown. All right, let's go in the oven with those. Let's start thinking about our roasted cauliflower. So we're going to take that off in a second, and we're going to put it in this steamer, and we're going to get all of those flavors from the browning outside in the grill, in the steamer, and then we're going to make mashed cauliflower from there. All right, I think this is ready to come inside. Pull that off. You follow me. All right. Get all of those pieces into the steamer. And when I say all, I mean all. Let's get all of that goodness in there. Get this guy going. Put it on high. And we'll let the garlic cool a little bit. I've burned myself several times on roasted garlic. Not advisable to do anything with that for at least 5 to 10 minutes. Now we just wait until the steaks get up to temperature. We wait until our Brussels sprouts are roasted properly. We wait until our cauliflower is steamed, and then it's all gonna come together. I forgot to mention one thing about the Brussels. Just every once in a while, you wanna come in here and just shake them up a little bit. That's an important step so they don't get too brown and crispy on one side or the other. All right, let's get a temperature check. About 117. Let's see what this guy is. This guy might need a little more time. He's a little on the rare side still. We'll pull this guy off, wait a couple more minutes, pull this guy off, and then we'll let the searing begin. Go ahead and get our searing apparatus going. And again, high heat. We're gonna let this guy go while the steaks are resting, so it's wicked hot, as the Bostonians like to say. Okay, it's time to assemble our sides. This guy's ready to go. Turn him off. The Brussels are done. Ow, ow. Let's add the bacon back in. A little bit of real red wine vinegar. Oh, shoot. It wasn't supposed to be red wine vinegar. What am I thinking? It's balsamic vinegar. Not a big deal. Let's just bring a little more red wine flavor to the party. There's your balsamic. And some garlic. I talked about the sourdough loaf before from Publix. The deal with this, you got a 400-degree oven, 10 minutes. I don't know how they do this, but they cook it like 90%. You cook it at the last 10%, and it just comes out unbelievably good. Let's get a bowl. And that bowl's disgusting. We don't want to use that bowl, do we, Mikey? Throw all of that in. Chopped roasted garlic, chicken broth, and I would say 2 or 3 tablespoons. Just kind of eyeball it. 1, 2, 3. That looks good. And then, now if you have a blender, you can use a blender. If you don't have either, you can use a masher, potato masher. Just want to get the big clumps out. And this, my friends, is done. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go sear some steaks. Okay, some important pieces of equipment here. Pan, obviously. We've got oven mitts because everything gets really, really hot at this stage. So, put my oven mitts on. I have steaks. Let's get those starting to sear. Listen to that. That is the sound we're looking for. And get some rosemary. Gosh, it's hard to use these things. Put the butter in there. Rosemary on top. The butter melts very quickly. And we're just going to kind of spoon that over the top, just like that. Wow. Just give it, I don't know, 45 seconds to a minute per side. Oh, look at that, Mikey. Lordy. All right. I think it's time to flip. Look at that. Maillard all day long, baby. We're just going to take that butter, just spoon it over the top. A few more seconds. We're getting there. You can get the thermometer out, but I'm telling you, if you take those steaks up to 120 and you do this sear for 30 seconds, 45 seconds a side, you're going to be at perfect medium rare when you take them off. It's just science, ladies and gentlemen. It's just science. All right, while we're waiting for the steak to cool, which you need about 5 minutes to let it rest before you cut it. Please do that. If you don't do that, you're going to make a ever-loving mess, and that's not good. A little bit of butter, put it in the pan, let that melt. We also need some half and half and some salt and pepper. Once you get the half and half in here, you got to make sure that you keep stirring that boy. Otherwise, you're going to curdle the milk, which is no bueno. Get the gorgonzola in. And then probably, yeah, about a half cup of half and half. Turn the heat up a little bit. And all we're doing here is stirring and melting. All right, let's get that bread out. A little pepper in there. A little salt. Kill the heat. We'll let that kind of set for a second. Let's plate. You ready, Mikey?
Oh yeah.
Here we go. Now, I forget the technical term, but the best part of the ribeye is this part right here on the outside. So we're going to take that. For you and the missus, I like to go ahead and pre-slice. Oh yeah, baby. Let's try a piece of that. Wonderful. So this one's a little on the rare side. If you want mid-rare, that's more like mid-rare. Let's come over here. Put our cauliflower mash, Brussels, and a little bit of that gorgonzola sauce. All right, Mike, this is the one we've been waiting for. This is something serious, as they say. Let's dig in. The great thing about reverse sear and why it's so important is that you can hit the temperature in the meat all the way up and down, and you get the sear on the outside. There's no guesswork. There's no, is this done? Is this not done? You know, everything just comes out the way that it should come out. The Brussels are great. The cauliflower mash is on point. It doesn't taste like potatoes, but honestly, it's very unique. It's got a very unique, takes the garlic and the roasting flavor really well. I think you'll like it. Listen, make this meal. You're going to impress. Really super simple principles here. These are very repeatable. You can do all of this stuff and make variations. Almost any kind of meat you can cook that way. And we'll get into some differences over the next year. Happy 2024. We'll see more this next year. Thanks again, Mikey.
Thank you.